It's the reunion show with Billy Eccles Richter. Tonight's guests are Chris Yost, musical guest, the Bill Roberts one-man band. And now, here's your host, Billy Eccles Richter.
Good evening, everyone. As we like to say, welcome home to Grace Avenue United Methodist Church. Wonderful to see all of you tonight. Some folks that I've just gotten to know recently and some folks that I've known for a long, long time. It's great to have you this evening. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We're going to have a great discussion with a great person this evening. And I know some of y'all are saying, well, this is kind of a late night show format. Am I going to do a monologue? No, I'm not. You want to hear a 20-minute monologue? You come at 9:15 or 10:30 tomorrow morning, and I'll be there and give you exactly what you need. We've got a great time ahead of us this evening, but before we do, I am so pleased to introduce to you somebody that is going to be with us during all the reunion shows. We didn't have a big budget for all this, so I thought, well, who can come do music? And I said, well, Bill Roberts, he plays like 5 different kinds of instruments, so this will work. So at every reunion show, we're going to see Bill Roberts with a different instrument. Would you please welcome to the stage the one-man band, Bill Roberts.
Is this thing on? You might want to turn it off. It is great to be with you tonight. It's great to do this. I'm excited to do one song each time, I guess. I'm not going to do more than that. But I was thinking of the definition of a gentleman, and I don't know if you know that. A definition of a gentleman is a man who owns a banjo but doesn't take it out of the case. I'm no gentleman. Now, I remember back 25 years ago when Billy and Laura were asked to start a new church in Frisco. And they immediately went to my wife, Lori, and asked her to be the minister of music at the church. And then they came to me and said, and we would like for you to never play the banjo in this new church. You see how we've grown, how we've evolved. So the next question that Lori and I had for Billy and Laura back in 1999 was, what's Frisco? And they looked at us kind of puzzled and said, well, we're not real sure, but we think it's a town in Oklahoma. And I thought, my mom worked for an airline for many, many years, and I got to travel a lot, and I thought I'd been everywhere, but I had never been to Frisco. And now here we are. I can say we've been to Frisco. So now we have been everywhere. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Cross that desert bare, man. Well, I breathe that mountain air, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Winslow. Let me start that again. I've been to Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota, Wichita, Tulsa, Ottawa, Oklahoma, Tampa, Panama, Mattawa, Paloma, Bangor, Baltimore, Salvador, Amarillo, Tocopilla, Barranquilla, Amadilla. I'm a killer. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Cross that desert bare, man. Well, I breathe that mountain air, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Boston, Charleston, Dayton, Louisiana, Washington, Houston, Kingston, Texarkana, Monterey, Faraday, Santa Fe, Tallapoosa, Glen Rock, Black Rock, Little Rock, Oskaloosa, Tennessee, Chicopee, Spirit Lake, Grand Lake, Devil's Lake, Crater Lake, for Pete's sake. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Cross that desert bare, man. Well, I breathe that mountain air, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Louisville, Nashville, Knoxville, Ogdenville, Shefferville, Jacksonville, Oswego, Costa Rica, Pittsfield, Springfield, Bakersfield, Shreveport, Cadillac, Fond du Lac, Davenport, Idaho, Jellicoe, Argentina, Diamantina, Pasadena, Catalina. See what I mean? I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Cross that desert bare, man. Well, I breathe that mountain air, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Pittsburgh, Parkersburg, Gravelburg, Colorado, Ellensburg, Rexburg, Vicksburg, Eldorado, Laramore, Atmore, Hattestraw, Chattanooga, Chaska, Nebraska, Alaska, Opelika, Baraboo, Waterloo, Kalamazoo, Kansas City, Sioux City, Cedar City, Dodge City. What a pity. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Cross a desert bare, man. Will I breathe that mountain air, man? Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. And I've been to Savannah, and I've been to Fish Trap in Aubrey, and I've been to Frisco. Oh, I've been everywhere.
Bill, I think. No, thank you, Bill. We appreciate it. If you ever want to know what Laurie Hanson Roberts thinks about the banjo, out in the hallway, just outside the offices, there is a large bulletin board that has all of our staff pictures on it. And Bill's picture has Laurie in the picture. And on that picture, you'll see exactly what Laurie thinks of the banjo. So I invite you to go and check that out. Well, tonight, my first guest on the reunion show for the summer is a very dear friend and somebody I'm so thankful to have with us. He is currently the pastor of the Wesley United Methodist Church in Greenville, but as of July the 1st, he'll be newly appointed to be the pastor of the First United Methodist Church in Rockwall, Texas. He is the founding pastor of the Crossway United Methodist Church, now Grace Chapel. He started here at Grace Avenue in the summer, July of 2010. And we are so thrilled to have him tonight. Would you welcome the Reverend Chris Yost? Have a seat.
All right, hot seat, hot seat.
Yeah. All right, so I got you water if you want some water. That's in your fancy 25th anniversary mug.
How much is this going to set me back if I take a drink?
Yeah, no, you can have it.
Okay.
You got to share it with Melissa, though. So.
All right, good. Well, that's pretty fancy,
And
Billy.
since it's Saturday night, there's nothing in it but water. So there you
25
go.
years.
25 years. Yeah, we've been at it 25 years. It's and I don't look any different than I did 25 years ago. So.
Well, me either. My pants fit just like they used to.
How you been? You're about to move to a new church. How are you doing?
You know, we're really doing good. We're in that amazing stage of life where, 23 complete years of ministry is about to pass for us, because it's not just me, of course. And you know, when you start hitting those moments where you reflect, there's actually something to reflect on. I think for your first 5 or 10 years of ministry, you act like you've been doing it for a while, but you really don't know what you're doing. And if it wasn't for God, nothing good would ever happen, right? But really, our eldest just graduated from college. Some of you might remember Emma. She graduated from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and she has meaningful employment.
There you go, yeah. All of us who have children that just graduated from college are thankful for that.
So, and then Caleb will be a senior in high school next year, and then Heidi will be a junior. And so it's busy. And by the way, car insurance, $869.
Yeah, congratulations. You need
Thank
it.
you.
I hope you're getting a raise when you go to Rockwall. So
that's why the bishop sent me. He goes, "Yeah, we can't have you impoverished with this car insurance thing."
Yeah,
so,
that's exactly right. Well, I wanted to take a minute and just kind of, I think a lot of people know your story, but there's parts of your story that I'd like to just kind of maybe this is going to turn in a little bit of, Chris Yost, this is your life. We'll see. But one of the things I know that was prominent in your life, informative in your life, is that you served in the United States Navy.
Yes.
And you did. And I think we have a picture of that. Yes, thank you, Christopher. There you are. Who are you standing with in this picture?
So that is actually my father. He had the opportunity to come out on what's called a Tiger Cruise. So we get to invite a family member to come out and spend the night, and God bless him. I don't think he slept for like 30 hours. He was just like, this is amazing the whole time. But and that's obviously, you can see the sail and the periscopes and the communication masts and all that.
What was the name of the submarine you were on? Can you tell me, is that classified?
Yeah. No. That's all good stuff. My first boat was actually the USS Finback, and she was a fast attack. We decommissioned her. And then this was the USS Ohio, and it was a ballistic missile sub.
We have another picture of you here. You see the submarine a little bit better in this picture. That's
yes.
lightning. Wow. Who's that?
So this is Josh Smith, and you talk about classified. I can never find him, so I think he got
Oh,
picked
I know.
up for
He
one of those
plays.
programs.
He plays for the Texas Rangers now. I saw him.
That's
He
it.
was
That's
playing
what
this
it is.
afternoon. Yeah.
So no, we actually had been down for 53 days at this moment, and we surfaced. And he and I were like, hey, let's go up and check it out. Well, it's the Pacific Northwest, so it was about 38 degrees and raining. And Josh is from Alaska. So you see the Texas kid on your left, and you see the Alaska kid on your right.
Okay, so when you were on this submarine, do you know what is the furthest the submarine ever went down when you were on it?
So I was taught to say in excess of 600 feet. Shortly after my discharge, commander of a submarine was on national TV and said in excess of 800 feet. So according to him, it's in excess of 800 feet. So.
Apparently, once they got you off the submarine, it could go down a little further.
A
for some
little
reason,
further.
so
That's
they were able
right.
to do
That's
that.
right.
So Chris
So-
has got amazing stories about when his time in the Navy, and I'm just always amazed. But again, we've already done this. But Chris, thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for the work. I mean, we are so proud that you're a part of it. Okay, so you did all that, and then do I have it right? Was it the year 2000 in September that you and Melissa got married?
Yes,
Where's
September of 2000. And, I'm sure that all of us will have memory slips as time goes by, but if I can find a calendar, I know how long I've been married.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
This is great.
Well, and I just want to let you know that, this is 24, so next year is,
Take my shoes off for
okay,
this
right,
one.
so 25. So do extensive planning as you go into your 25th anniversary. And she might be like us, she might be expecting several months worth of celebration and things like that.
She deserves it.
How did you and Melissa meet?
So, ironically, at a hockey game. And there's a long story behind it, but still one of my greatest friends in life, Jesse, was dating a woman that lived over on the Seattle side of the water. And I got home from days of working, and I just said, hey, I want to go to a hockey game. You want to go? And he goes, well, I've got a date tonight. I don't know. But, I was supposed to have a buddy come with me and maybe a double. I don't know what's going on. I said, all right. Well, being guys, I said, look, I'm going to a hockey game. You want to go or not? And he goes, sure. So he just left her a message. And as it turns out on the other side of this, my other really good friend I'm still dear friends with, Ryan, the three of us are going to a hockey game. Jesse thinks his date might show up, and she may or may not have a friend. Well, on the other side of it, Melissa tells the story that she had had a long week at work. She was exhausted. And then her friend Debbie said, Melissa, I need a favor. I like this guy, but I am not going to a hockey game with 3 Navy guys. I need a wingman, basically. And Melissa's like, I don't feel like going anywhere. And she's like, but a hockey game. That sounds fun. So she went, and then as the story goes, this is literally true, but it's also poetic. I don't remember who won the game, but I remember who I met.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway.
Golly.
And that was in 1999 also.
1999. Yeah,
right,
see,
so
good things
good
happened
year.
in 99. Who knew? Those guys, and then y'all got married in September of 2000.
364 days, Billy. I met
Is
her
that the
October
appropriate amount of
1,
time from you met her and then said,
and then we got married on September 30th.
oh, wow.
And I was gone. This will really make all you parents nervous. I was at sea for almost 6 months of the year I knew her. So when I got back from my first patrol, my grandmother said, oh my gosh, I just love Melly. That's what she called her, Melly. I just love her. And I'm like, you talked to my girlfriend? Like, I've just dated this girl for a month or so, month and a half, and my grandmother's telling me all about her. I don't know her yet. And my dad, I talked to him. He goes, oh my gosh, well, I was talking to Melissa the other day. And I'm like, what? Well, turned out my family stalked her. And basically, I had to get to know her because they were like, you're going to marry her. So anyway.
Yeah.
That was the...
Yeah, so you were on that side of the contradiction. Last week I talked in church about contradictions, and one of the things that I said was there's this one contradiction that we have where in love, is it either out of sight, out of mind, or absence makes the heart grow fonder. And in your case, it was obviously the latter. And
We would say-
either that or she really liked your family and just thought she'd tolerate you. I don't know which
Put
way.
up with me, that's right.
So it was that kind of deal. Wait, where's the picture of Melissa? Everybody knows Melissa. Where's the picture, Preston? Preston, you still back there? Oh, what happened? Oh, okay. Well, we had a great picture.
Oh,
there
yeah.
she is. Now, I chose this picture because not long ago, this was 2017, Melissa earned a Master's of Education degree.
That's right.
And she is now a principal.
That's right. So God bless her. She was robbed of her graduation. This was in front of our house on the 380 corridor.
Yeah.
And she earned her master's degree. And was it the day we were closing on our house or something like that? Packing and literally moving out of the house. And she said, that's it. I'm getting pictures in my regalia. So yes, she earned her master's degree, and she was for 3 years assistant principal, and then now she's entering her third year as the principal of LP Waters Early Childhood Education Center. So it's a big
Melissa,
deal.
it's great to have you tonight. Would y'all welcome Melissa Yost is here tonight. It's good to have her. Awesome. And you have these 3 beautiful children, and I think we got a picture of them. There they are. This is about the time, I think it's about 2012. So it's, one of your first couple of years when you were at Crossway. Right. So on the right is Emma, and next is Heidi, and then Caleb in the great looking sweater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. You remember this picture?
I do. This was the Nutcracker, and those of you who have seen the Nutcracker, you remember at the end there's kind of a reprisal of the opening music. God bless Caleb. Now, we did not know he had some attention issues at this time, but he had been quiet the entire time. And Billy, that's all he could take. He hears dun 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 dun, dun and he goes, "Oh no, Dad, are they starting all over?"
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
So here is what they look like today. There they are at Emma's graduation.
Yay.
That's Caleb on the far right, and Heidi next to Chris, and then the graduate of
That's
2020 from Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
That's it.
And my understanding, you talked about her gainful employment. She's coming home to live for a while, but then she's actually going to work for her sorority, I understand.
That's right. So those of you who know Emma, she is a very practical kid. And if she'd have grown up on the West Coast, she'd be very granola. But she has enough Texan in her that she can eat steak, okay? So with that said, she was not going to have anything to do with the sorority. Those are those people, air quotes. Billy, that girl gets into a sorority. She not only loves it, she ends up being the president of her chapter and then ended up helping with the national thing. Well, then they hired her for a 1-year thing where she goes out and helps. She home bases out of Indianapolis. And I don't know, you all that have kids, when they get an opportunity to travel on someone else's dime.
Yeah.
Can I get an amen?
Awesome deal. She's a Zeta. We got any Zetas in the room
Zeta.
tonight?
Zeta
No
Tau
Zetas in the
Alpha.
room? Wow.
All right.
Okay. Well,
all right.
So there they are today. Amazing to think about where we've come in all this period of time. So as I said, in 2010, Chris was appointed here. He and I had met really probably about a year before that. You remember really the first major thing we did together was at SMU. Do you remember that?
Yes. I just packed the binder Friday.
Yeah, I
yesterday,
still
so.
refer to it quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were invited to be a part of a pilot project where the Cox School of Business, some of you may have heard their executive leadership team, executive leadership certification program,
Yeah.
and the Perkins School of Theology were doing a combined program. And our then bishop put us into the same room together, and as a part of that, and Corey Knott, that was the other person.
Yeah.
So
we had a great time. So if you didn't know, Chris Yost and I both have a certificate in leadership from the Cox School of Business at SMU. So,
that's right.
Sometimes I have to go back and look at that to remind myself, that we
Honestly,
had that.
I'm reminded of what I'm supposed to know.
Right. But
That's
really, I mean, you and I have a lot of mutual friends, and I'll talk about another one later on, but really, our first major mutual friend was
Tom Graves.
Tom Graves.
All day long.
How did you tell me a little bit about your relationship with Tom?
So Tom originally was my district superintendent, and he was wrapping up his work as an active, full-time clergy person. And Tom ended up going as an interim pastor at First United Methodist Church in McKinney. The previous pastor had left pretty quickly, but he was the one that had hired me to go to First McKinney. So Tom meets me at annual conference and he goes, well, hey, as you're coming in full time, I just want to let you know, I'm going to be the senior pastor there for a couple months. And I was like, remember, he was my district superintendent. And this, to me, in my little world, this is like meeting the admiral, okay? That's an enlisted kid meeting the admiral. That's what it was like. And then I get to work with him. Long story short, grace, serendipity, mercy, and just agape love. Mm-hmm. Tom took an interest in my life, in our family's life. I don't know, do you all have those people who have loved you into being?
Yep.
There was that scene in the Mr. Rogers movie several years ago where he says, I want to invite us to take a moment and think about the people who have loved you into being. First of all, if you're lucky enough to have one of those, that's it. That's a life sermon right there. Tom was that person for me for 10 years, right up till his 2012, right? When he passed, so.
Yeah. And I mean, hardly a season goes by that I don't have some reminiscent, some recollection of Tom and his ministry and things like that. The other thing is, he did a wonderful thing by leaving us all of his stuff. I can't tell you how many Sundays in the sanctuary, at least, we use one of his prayers on special occasions. We use one on Memorial Day that he wrote. I mean, Laurie can tell you, she pulls up several of those each
Timeless.
year. Yeah, just great. So when I first talked to Tom about you, so we're now kind of gotten into this place of maybe we're thinking about starting a new church, and I'm going to really need somebody that can come and do this. And I went to Tom and I said, so Tom, I'm really thinking about this, and I've met Chris Yost. I just wonder what you think about Chris Yost. What do you think he said to me about you?
Oh, I bet he said, he's a Boy Scout.
That's exactly what he said. He said, he's the biggest Boy Scout I've ever met in my life. And he was right. So he's all the way through. He was right,
and there's a story behind that, but that's for another time probably.
Yeah.
So.
But we had a great ministry, and I will always be grateful to him and grateful to the opportunity you and I had to be in the leadership, because it really did give us,
100%,
we got to where that thing was every Tuesday night, and we met for dinner, and sometimes we stayed late and talked, and it was just a really great thing for me.
It was wonderful because it was a good opportunity. I was newly ordained. I was, I'd served full-time ministry since 2002, started in 2001, but then in 2009 was when I was ordained.
Yeah.
Well, as Christopher Vaughn is finding out, his whole world opens up now because you're not obligated to all these other activities. And this was my first chance to be with people who I don't know if they considered me a colleague, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'm colleagues with these people. And it really, I don't know, it was neat, it felt really good, so.
So we get to 2010, you're appointed, you spent some time in incubation here, but things were so exciting, we just couldn't wait to get everything started out on the 380 corridor. And it really was, it's busy out there now, but when you were out there, it was the Wild West. Yes. And what I think we've got a picture actually now, Preston, you got that picture of, I think we had kind of a consecration time. There we go.
Oh, yes, and right over here, that's right. The front was
over here, and our district superintendent is here. If you look, that's Chris and Melissa on the back. I think you may be holding
on the far right.
On the right, I'm sorry, yes.
There's Kim right there, Kim Eifert right there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and then
Kim.
I think y'all are
Reverend Eifert.
Anyway, and you see some of these folks that are in, Reverend Eifert is in that picture as well.
That's right, Janelle, I think you're on there.
Yeah,
that's right. The Withhagers.
Yeah, the Withhagers are in that picture.
Oh, there's Melissa, Oh my goodness.
Absolutely, So we had this, and then Crossway just started doing all kinds of things. And of course, one of the joys that you had at Crossway was the joy that we had here, and that was you operated without a building for a long time. So a lot of stuff happened in your living room, yes?
Oh, it happened anywhere it could. Matter of fact, we would try different areas to see if anything would work. And I think in her beautiful practicality, I'm seeing Janelle nodding, and then Kim over here probably were like, look, any place will do, but no place is like our eventual place. That was kind of the theme. And man, I don't know if some of you may or may not remember the Smith family. I remember because Jeff and Lisa, we tried a preview service at a park on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was 9,000 degrees. It was, people were sweating lava to cool off. That's how hot it was. And we were all like, this is not the way. So anyway.
So I think we have some evidence of that kind of thing. Can you show the next picture? Yeah, so this was an Easter service
Yes.
that you guys had. That's why Chris is in a robe out in the middle of a field. There's Easter eggs at the back. And that is Kurt Eifert right there.
That is Kurt,
talking to his pastor. And y'all had an Easter service where?
So this is at the Prestonwood Polo Grounds.
Yeah, the Polo Grounds. That's where everybody should have an Easter service, right?
And hey, that is still to my, I hope in my funeral liturgy, the picture of me like this is the one that they put on the cover, because that was the most, and I mean this with a true heartfelt humility, I was the most proud in that moment because we actually pulled it off. You have no idea. And so this, what you might not know, and Kirk Anderson is just off of this frame because Kirk and I were looking at the weather. This is early apps on your phone. And you all, there were thunderstorm warnings 40 miles away. They were bearing down on us. And Kurt Eifert and I are sitting there, and I think this is about the moment we were like, well, we're going to get those kids to those Easter eggs, and we're going to praise Jesus, and we might do it wet. I mean, those shoes later on, about an hour and 20 minutes after this, the skies opened. It dumped 2 inches in about 30 minutes. And those shoes I threw in the garbage after when we got home. But
yeah, so I mean,
that was a good day.
That's what you do with New Church, though, right? You have to, wherever you can have church, you did. You had it at the Polo Grounds. This next picture, I think, is one of the ones I love the most because this obviously, you were doing a baptism or a baptismal renewal.
Yes.
And I don't even know where you are, but what I love about this picture is, I don't know if you can see the sign right by the picture.
Oh.
It says no swimming allowed. So
yes.
We weren't doing immersions because there was no swimming allowed.
We couldn't swim, and trust me, you did not want to swim. And that was in Providence Village.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a baptism on Easter morning, and that was let's see, in our preseason, our preseason launch. Wyatt James, what was his last name? Barksdale. Thank you, Wyatt James. That was Barksdale baptism. So.
Wow. Yeah. So.
Isn't that something?
You kind of never really in your life got away from water, did you? You just have all these things.
Oh, no. Water's life-giving.
And then I didn't know that. So, if you kind of want to know the frame of time that Chris was starting and Crossway was starting, one of the ways to date it is somehow you remember what's going on. So we all know that last fall in October, the Texas Rangers were in the World Series. Previous to that, I think it's the next picture. Yeah, I think you can see that, but it was 2011, and Chris Yost has on his World Series hat. Of course, we didn't win that year, but he was in his Crossway t-shirt and his Texas Rangers hat.
Our mutual friend, Terry Swan, the Reverend Terry Swan, is in St. Louis, and we made a bet that we would have to wear a hat that the other one picked. Because it was St. Louis and the Rangers.
She goes in St. Louis.
My merciful friend sent me this hat instead of the other one. And so I was like, absolutely, I'll wear this. I was so happy in that picture.
World Series one. Okay, but then what I didn't know, I feel like I know a lot about all these things when I look at them. I had no idea until I saw the next picture. You actually pitched on the Crossway softball team?
Was it 24-0 on this one? Was it this game?
Did you win?
Oh, no.
Oh, you
lost. No. So the joke was that, you have, for those of you who are familiar with rec softball, the best, there's AAA, there's majors, there's all this. And then you go down and you normally have like to the D League, okay? And we were joking that this was supposed to be the J or K League. And we happened to have, was it Anytime Fitness? Were they the ones that put together the team that no one told them this was the J League, okay? And anyway, but yes, this was, and we had so much fun playing this. That is me pitching.
So are you still playing church league softball?
No.
No.
They
got past that, didn't you? That's a tough lesson to learn.
Yeah.
I was about, how old do you think you were in this picture?
35,
Okay.
34,
Now,
35, somewhere.
when I was 32 years old, I was playing church league basketball. 'Cause I played basketball in high school. And I took a quick step, and something didn't feel right.
Oh.
And at 32, I had blown out my Achilles tendon.
Oh, yeah, that's a
And
bad
went to-
day.
and it was at that point that I thought, I'm probably not going to play church league sports anymore. And
You're the ref, aren't
yeah,
you?
So I
You're the
rehabbed,
ref, yeah.
I rehabbed and played one more year, and then I thought, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. So anyway, so here we have a vintage picture of you playing.
Oh,
softball.
yeah.
So lots of good memories, and then you had this
Great
opportunity to go to Greenville. Now
Yes.
you'd been at Crossway 7 years,
Yes.
and talk a little bit about that.
So we
Because there's
had-
some people in here still mad that you left. You know
Oh
that,
no!
don't you?
Hey, you know what? Who was I talking? Oh, Gail and Vince over here. I was telling them about the both and. There is such a thing as being upset and excited.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as being grateful and also being scared. I mean, you know, it all goes together. And we had been at it for a long time, trying to, and I want to give Billy a shout out here. I know this is his show to run, but some of you who call, certainly at that time, Grace Avenue is your home. Billy also was advocating for in the midst of a broken new church start system that we had. And I was a maintenance guy back in the Navy, so I'm good at diagnosing. And Billy and we were, for 3 years, I'd say, banging our heads against the wall going because it had nothing. I'm looking out here. Withhagers are right there. And y'all, we did everything by the book and then put cherries on top of everything. And it was just grinding. It was a grind. So our then new bishop, McKee, called you and I in on a Saturday morning, to his credit. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, Billy? And he just goes, wear a jacket, you'll be fine. Anyway, so we go in and he asked us to give an unfiltered review of what was going on. Yeah. And it took about 18 months for that system to start changing, and that's when we got into the building because we realized that the system we had was broken. And that took a lot of, if New Church Start wasn't difficult enough, that took a whole nother level to where I can't show up on a Sunday and act like there's anything wrong because we got to get ahead, we got to go, you know. With that, you just get to this place where you're like, I am drained of my ability to address this set of issues effectively. And I'll never forget, there's Melissa, there's Gail, there's oh, this is like a trifecta right here. Who else? There was one more person in the room. Kim, were you on our staff parish at that time? No. There was one other person in the room, and you remember we were filling out my year-end review or something, and I said something like, well, this has to reflect the accuracy of the church in case I was not your pastor next year. And that's just a matter, we have to say that every year, right? Yeah. But there was this moment, I remember looking at Janelle Anderson, and she was like, and Melissa Withhager goes, no. And y'all, let me tell you, it was this Holy Spirit moment, and I think it was Gail with her ability to say, we're filling out a piece of paper, right, to bring us back. But it was that moment when I think if the Spirit was interceding with us, that was the moment. With that said, there are times where you realize you're not able to address the next set of headaches. Yeah, right. And I mean that in a sacred way. And that's kind of where I think it got at that place. And I had I was searching for how do I get into that next set of, I say headaches, but next set of issues. And in the midst of me questioning that, that's when they called and said, hey, we want to send you out to Wesley Greenville.
Well, and part of it, what it did is it got your kids to a place where they weren't moving in the middle. And it got to the very formative years that were coming up in their life were spent in a wonderful place. Greenville's been a wonderful place for them to grow up, from what I can tell. And
you bet.
It's just been the right thing. And sometimes, as you said, those things are very bittersweet, but you do it. And now, of course, one of the things, Chris, I think you're aware, I don't know if you and Melissa have been out there, but to see the new building, but you need to go out and see it because it's going to be ready here in the fall. And thank God. But you're a part of that legacy. I mean, that building is there as a testament to the work that we've all done together. And you will always be a big part of that. And I want you to know how much we appreciate you in the midst of all that. You know, the building y'all got into is the one that's on Fish Trap Road. They haven't just numerically outgrown it. You know why they need to get out of that building?
Why?
They've overfilled the septic tank out there. They're trying to get.
Oh, yeah, you're kidding.
It's a whole
I know
long
exactly
story
the
about
problem.
trying
I don't even need more. I know exactly
what that. Get the septic tank cleaned out before we can do anything else.
Oh,
okay.
my goodness.
So
real quick, I need to say one more thing. Just a huge shout out because it was the faithfulness of the people, and then Kenneth. Yeah, there you are. Kenneth Wolverton put his business acumen to helping solve this problem. So I'm the chair of the trustees for the annual conference.
Sure.
And there's this ACE program that comes up, and Kenneth used all these lessons learned, the conversations you'd had with the bishop, he had with the bishop, to where now when a church gets to a place of sustainability in their early development, that 2.5, 3 year mark, we can get them the funding they need to get over that big hump. Because the thing that ate our lunch was we would build up to about 150, 160, and then the question would come up, when are we getting in a building? Well, when we raise the money. Well, how do we raise the money? How much do we need? Well, we need $2.5, $3.5 million. Where does that come from? Us. And then we'd start back over with 85, 95 people. And then we went through at least 3 iterations of that cycle.
Yeah.
And now what we're hoping to do is to have a system in place where, yes, the church is still going to pay for its land and its building, but that stifling effect. When we get a church into a new building, do you know they grow by 35% Sunday over Sunday and it never goes back? Okay. So anyway, we got it fixed. And I want to, all the church is the laity. We just get to be cheerleaders and, dance to the organ, but all of you who are part of that, and Kenneth, thank you, because the redemption for all that we went through is that it's fixed. And new people are going to know Jesus because of what we banged our head against that wall and the faithfulness of people to get
And
it
what we
done.
saw when you came in 2010 is what's this burgeoning reality out there right now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know there were people that were like, well, why are we going out there? What's out there? Well, 14 years later, what's out there? Golly.
The PGA's even out there, people, okay?
Out there right now. So it's a good kind of thing. All right, so we've gone through all this unrehearsed tonight, and it's been wonderful to visit, but there were 2 questions I asked you to prep for, and so I want you to be able to think about those just for a minute. So the first question I asked, what is your one enduring memory of Grace Avenue Crossway?
Oh, goodness. My one enduring memory. There are a bunch.
That's fine.
There are a bunch.
I'll let you fudge on more than one.
But I have to say there was an instrumental moment in that pre-launch season where Kim and I were just being paired. Kim Eifert is sitting right over here.
I'm sorry, it's now the Reverend Kim Eifert.
That's right. She has earned that, trust me. But we were down the hallway over here just doing arts and crafts, with our kiddos. I don't know if it's Heidi and Katie and Dillel or not, but little friends there. And I honestly did not know what we needed to do in getting some of this stuff going, right? I mean, we go to training and whatnot. And Kim looks me dead square in the eyes and just says, Chris Yost, you're not the only one with the Jesus thing going on. Jesus has called others of us to it too. And I mean, there was relief. There was like, oh my gosh, can I trust this person? Because we didn't all know each other yet, right? But there is such a thing as holding on too tight. And when you realize, to Tom's credit, it ain't about us, clergy. Sure. It is about you all. and it is about getting out of God's way 95% of the time. And the other 5, we were just lucky enough to be standing in the right spot. So I would say that was one of those moments. The other thing that I think clicked for me was almost at the very, I'd say probably a few months to go, but when we had moved into the little building there on Fish Trap, and for the first time we were having a meeting at a place.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just, I remember that I was still somewhere in one of these Facebooks, I'm sure it'll pop up there. I have a selfie with that building just packed with people.
At Christmas time, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So I think from beginning to my passing of the baton in that season, those are probably 2 of the earmarked moments.
Okay, so that's some of the enduring memory. And then the other question I really wanted you to hear is what do you think is the greatest thing you learned about being in the Grace Avenue system?
Relationship is the goal. It's a relationship with God. It's a relationship with your neighbor, and it's a relationship with yourself. Okay? And love is the coin of the realm in that relationship.
Yeah.
And agape love is the coin of that realm. I think certainly for me, coming into Grace Avenue, I was still in that what am I supposed to do phase. Like, so if I'm going to be this minister person, what does that person do? How do I act? What do I say? And at some point you realize just relate and relate. And it all takes care of itself. Now, that doesn't mean we don't prep for things. You know, it's not like we just sit there and go, the sermon will take care of itself. Shmah. You just get up and babble for 30 minutes, right? No. But once you get the relationship part right, the rest of it all. And Grace Avenue embodied that. When you all, like tonight, welcome home, right? What is home? Home's a place of trusted relationships. It also, you can have times of difficulty, right? My goodness, in a good, sacred way, you know, Billy would say, Chris, I don't know if that's a good idea about something. And that was not a threat. That was a contribution. So anyway, relationship. I really think that helped me. Let me say it this way. The temptation, actually puns intended, is to think that faith in Christ is about a righteousness, but the righteousness is the relationship. It's not about being perfect in all these other areas. It's about being perfected in love, as John Wesley said.
Yeah.
And relationship's it, man. And you guys embody that, and I'm grateful.
We feel very blessed by that. You know, yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, it's a relationship enterprise that we're involved in.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of what I think God's about too, is that God's involved in a relationship enterprise, so we should be as well. A couple things we'll do to kind of close up. First thing is, I want to give you a moment to talk about this. When we started putting these reunion shows together, the committee, we actually have a 25th anniversary committee. Who's on the 25th anniversry committee that's here tonight? Come on, raise your hands. There's a few there. Say thank you to our chair people, Travis and Janelle Taylor over there, for putting all this together. They get all the stuff out and everything. Anyway, the 25th anniversary committee was, when we have the other pack, can we have them come preach? And I started thinking about it, the problem is, where do you have them? We have multiple venues and simultaneous times, and that's going to be really hard. And then it also dawned on me, you can see Chris Yost preach anytime you want. If I were to go out, how would I find your sermons right now?
Oh, you can go on YouTube, you can go on Facebook, and I understand sometimes they're on Instagram too.
Okay.
I don't.
So
I'm an old person now. I'm only on Facebook.
So what's the Wesley Greenville site?
Is Wesley UMC Greenville, and you can find that on website, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Oh. And then I guess next it's going to be fumcrockwall.com.
That's correct. fumcrockwall.com. So that's great. All right, so the other thing I want you to know is that we have a gift for you tonight. brought
Hot dog.
a bag full of 25th anniversary swag for you and Melissa.
Ooh, should
Okay,
I?
right, so yeah, you can look inside, but here's what I want you to know. My communications director told me tonight, there you go, that's good looking there, that works, yeah, awesome. That we actually have 2 shirts in here for you. I think we're in the process of ordering more shirts. So one is a medium and one is a double extra large. So we know that that's probably, so you and Melissa have to decide, fighting over that, but I figure, yeah.
No, wait,
I
she
figure you
gets
could-
the medium. I already know that.
Well, I figure if you wear the double extra large, you can at least wear it to do yard work or something when you get to Rockwall, things like that. So
Thank you,
It's
yeah.
been so wonderful to have you. I have one more picture I want to show you. So you are about to go to First United Methodist Church of Rockwall.
Yes.
And so if you look at this picture, I'm on the right. There's my Amish friend in the middle who doesn't really matter. Don't worry about him. He sometimes plays Santa Claus. But the guy on the left is who you are following at First United Methodist Church Rockwall. What can you tell me about this character?
First of all, okay, let's just get the honest part out of the way. He's been there 18 years and they love this guy. You talk about intimidating. My goodness, I've been telling all my prayer partners, I am excited and y'all better pray for me because it is a little nerve wracking. I told the lay members to annual conference, I said, if I thought I could get away with it on my first Sunday, I would have a bronzing pot in the middle of the chancel, and we get a pair of Joe's shoes and just dip them in bronze and put them up on the shelf because there's just no filling shoes like that, right? Yeah. But anyway, Joe is well. The picture says it all.
It does.
There's 1,000 words right there.
And part of what I just wanted to, the reason I wanted to end with this picture and show it to you is I just want you to know you're going to have a great ministry, you and Melissa at Rockwall, and you know, when you look at this picture, I just think, well, Yost, if you can't follow this guy, then I don't know what to tell you. This is,
I love it.
You know, and I've got a copy of this picture, and so at any point in time, you need this picture. And they're like, when you get into that moment where people say, well, it's not like Joe used to do, you can say, you're right, look at this. This is exactly the way it was. Chris, it is such an honor and privilege to have you with us, and it's been a wonderful night. I know you don't do this on a late night talk show, but I'm just going to close this with a word of prayer tonight. Yes. And then we've got a few more minutes. Y'all can stick around and say and visit with the Yost for a few more minutes before we be through this evening. So let's pray. Kind and gracious God, how blessed we are to be a part of your church, to share in ministry, to recognize that everyone in this room tonight has a connection because of your love. We are so thankful for Chris and for Melissa Yost, for their kids, and for the ministry that they have shared with us, the ministry that they have shared with the good people of Greenville. And now we pray for their ministry as they begin a new journey and a new adventure at First United Methodist Church in Rockwall. God, in all of these seasons of life, we are thankful that we can take time to pause and to celebrate, to know that you are God and that we are your people, and that you give us hope for the new thing that you want us to do today, tomorrow, and in the generations to come. We're thankful tonight for Chris and Melissa Yost, and we're thankful for the love that you've shared with us through Jesus Christ. It's in his name that we pray. Amen. Will you say thank you to Chris Yost again?
Oh, thank you.